My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for choosing us. About 14 pupils of the Great Faith Rockery School in Kumasi are receiving treatment at two different hospitals after their school bus was involved in a road accident. According to eyewitnesses, the driver of the bus lost control of the steering wheel and somersaulted in a ditch close to the Subing River on the Sokwa Ahunju Road. Nana Boache Dankwa has more in this report.
We are witnessing an accident which took place at the highway that leads to the Ahojo roundabout. Our intel indicates that the bus which had this accident is said to belong to Great Faith Rockery School at the Ahinema Kokobin. We are here to witness what actually happened. Our intel also tells us that the accident which happened had 15 students, a tutor, and then a driver. Right now, the students have been admitted to the hospital. We would speak to witnesses who saw the unfortunate scene.
Me oje shop yaduma na ye na tese bibi ye pan na ye nyina dia America bae te ba na school bus na beto ha ampa ye ba na nse enkragum ni aticha fo ne any driver but
the driver lost control of his steering wheel, which led to this accident. We've been able to rescue the kids, and they are all safe. Right now, they've been admitted to the hospital.
50 and 17.
Taxi driver Seidu Inusa, who helped convey 4 other children to a private hospital at Ahojo, says the children are in safe condition. He therefore called on school authority and the school proprietor to ensure that their vehicles are roadworthy. I was able to rescue about 4 kids and even paid for their hospital bills. The doctors have done all the necessary checks. Their parents also came around to ensure the safety of their children. A medical doctor at the Asokwa Children's Hospital, Dr. Fred Funjan, says the children are in safe condition. He described the condition of the people as minor.
There were 10 of them that were brought into us, and then after examinations, clinically they are stable. Aside 4 of them that had minor injuries, 2 of them had abrasions, and then 1 had pain in the leg. So we are planning to detain those ones, do a series of x-rays, and then hopefully those ones too, they will be fine. But the other 6 will be allowed to go home, and we'll just come back for it. What we tell their parents is that, they should be relaxed. The kids we can say, are out of danger. Per the examinations that we did, the children are pretty much stable. So,
reporting for JoyNews, Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom.
The National Communications Authority has served notice that it will not spare media houses broadcasting inappropriate content. In effect, they risk a shutdown if warnings to desist from broadcasting unsuitable content, particularly those that pose a threat to society, is not heeded too. The warning comes as the NCA launches the Broadcasting Monitoring Center to regulate the content and technical specifications of television and FM broadcasting services. Mapito Sibede has more in this report.
In 2021, 2 teenagers killed a 10-year-old boy for money rituals, having been influenced by spiritualists on national television. This caused a public uproar, with many asking the National Communications Authority to regulate the content on television and radio stations. Speaking at the launch of the new Broadcasting Monitoring Center, Director General Joe Anoche said the organization has established systems to effectively monitor compliance to the technical conditions of broadcast authorizations.
In 2021, there was a widespread public concern about negative repercussions of ritualist contents of television stations that entertain spiritualists, as well as advertisement which misled a large section of the public. There were calls for the regulatory institutions with oversight over electronic media, that is, the National Media Commission and the NCA, to take appropriate action to deal with these issues. As a result, the NCA and NMC signed a memorandum of cooperation on June 15, 2021 to regulate broadcast content in line with the provisions of Section 3C of the NCA Act 2008 at 769.
Deputy Information Minister Fatimatu Abubakar believes while Ghana waits for the broadcasting bill to be passed, this broadcasting monitoring center will keep media houses on their toes to produce more appropriate content.
I believe in the short and medium term, even before we get a broadcasting act, which has been worked on over the years. This singular exercise by the National Communications Authority to commission a broadcasting monitoring center would really keep a lot of media houses, in fact, all media houses on their toes. Just the awareness that someone is watching in itself is some sort of regulation in itself, because people are conscious of who is watching them.
Personnel of the center are expected to monitor about 100 channels. Director of the Engineering at the NCA, Edmund Fianco, outlined some of the key components of the new Broadcasting Monitoring Center.
To improve, we also do prompt the stations. We send emails, place telephone calls when we observe certain violations, and it helps to improve. Also, for the unauthorized stations that keep coming up, because the team at the center, one of their tasks is to run daily scans. We are also able to quickly detect when there are stations that are not authorized but are on air. There is also the enhanced consumer protection. We expect that law enforcement can be able to request for clips whenever they need it to support either investigations or prosecution as necessary.
Reporting for JoyNews from the National Communications Authority Broadcasting Monitoring Center, I am Mapito Sibidi.
Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has admitted government is facing financial challenges and is currently unable to continue with the construction of the Palugu multipurpose dam. He has proposed tabling the project before the World Bank for possible financing. We'll hear from the Vice President shortly, but first, here's an excerpt of a JoyNews hotline documentary titled A Dam of Promises, in which Albert Sore raised the challenge of sourcing funds for the construction of that project.
The major factor that will determine the success or failure of the Palugu multipurpose dam project is the issue of funding. The government of Ghana is the sole financier of the project, and this, Professor Miller believes, puts the government in a very difficult situation.
Unless you find a dedicated donor who embark on it and run with it. But if you are going to sit back and count on GOG, that will happen this year, because this year's budget has been done and the supplementary and reviews have all been done. Next year, it's not possible. The World Bank will be sitting in, and if you see the cost of this project, you convert it to cedis. You can't even pronounce the figures anymore. So it just wouldn't happen, because we'll be struggling to recover. The economy will be struggling to recover. So you don't burden the economy more in its recovery.
So, with all these bottlenecks, can the Palugu multipurpose dam project be realized anytime soon?
The people in the upper region and also the northeast region should disabuse their minds that it will happen now. They should not forget, they should suspend the dreams of the dam happening now. That is something that is necessary, that should happen. Only that the timing now is unfortunate. Even to get a donor will be a problem. You know, the investor confidence is waning. So even now to look for an investor that will come and put so many $1 billion in a dam is a very tricky thing. Whom are you going to speak to?
JoyNews contacted the Upper East Regional Minister, Stephen Yakubu, for an update on the progress of work on the Palugu multipurpose dam project. He declined a recorded interview on the grounds that the president, during his most recent visit to the region, commented on the project and that he, the regional minister, considered the president's words as the final say. We have double-checked the interview and speeches made by the president during that visit, and there is no record of a specific comment on this multi-purpose dam project. What President Akufo-Addo did say during that visit was that his government hoped to complete all projects that have been initiated in the region by the time he leaves office. For now, based on the facts we have gathered on the ground, it looks almost certain that the Palugu multipurpose dam project cannot be completed within the announced timeline, which has just about 20 months left to elapse.
We can now hear from Vice President on the challenge of financing the project while he was speaking at the launch of the Gulf of Guinea Northern Region's Social Cohesion Project at Bolgatanga in the Upper East region.
The major projects that this government has major intention to see happen in the northern regions of Ghana, because it will really impact on climate, resilience, food production, flood control, and so on, is the Palugu Dam project. The Palugu Dam project is a project that I believe the World Bank should really take a keen interest in, and development partners as well. Government has tried to make a start. We're facing some of the financial challenges as many countries are at the moment, but we want to make sure that this project sees the light of day and is completed. So I just want to put it on the table that here we will be discussing this project further with you so that we can see to its construction.
Last month, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana led a march to call on the Vice President to make the Palugu multipurpose dam a priority in the IMF negotiations. They are also scheduled to meet the Vice President later in December to discuss matters concerning the dam. So what does the recent admission by Dr. Baumia mean to the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana? We will be joined later in this bulletin by the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association for more on this. Let's talk about the 2023 budget now. The debate of that budget statement delivered to Parliament last Thursday kicked off in a fierce manner, with MPs from both sides of the House making forceful presentations. Even before the first argument will be made, the minority, who described the budget as hopeless, attempted to arrest the debate, insisting Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta must be present in the House. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Sante has the rest of the story.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who has traveled to Germany on official visit, was required, according to the NDC MPs.
So you can't just come and move the motion and you are not there. Remember, we are in a critical stage as a country, and members have researched. Over the weekend, we were all in, you took us there. You gave us technical insight and guidance. Members are prepared to make their input. And Mr. Speaker, it is only appropriate that the Finance Minister must be here. Mr. Speaker, if he's not ready to do the job, he must let the House move.
The matter raised by the Deputy Whip on the minority side is very grave, Mr. Speaker. This attitude is becoming too much. Mr. Speaker, the practice where ministers of finance present budget and fail to collect input should not be entertained. It is becoming too much from this finance minister. You don't just present a budget and travel abroad or go and sit in your office. Mr. Speaker, we cannot accept this. He should come before we start the debate.
The Constitution does not say that anywhere.
The Speaker, however, ruled that he had been made aware of the minister's travel. The minority then kickstarted their debate, describing government economic policies as hopeless and one which will worsen the economic situation of Ghanaians. Ranking member on the Finance Committee, Dr. Kisela Toforsen, described the 23 taxes introduced in the budget as killer taxes, insisting there is nothing inspirational about the budget presented by the minister.
Until yesterday, the Black Stars of Ghana has given some temporal hope to a very hopeless situation. Mr. Speaker, the mood in this house would tell you how hopeless the nation has become. Mr. Speaker, if you go out there, the mood on the street of Ghana will tell you that there's hopelessness. There's a massive, massive cost of living crisis as we find ourselves. Mr. Speaker, it will surprise you to know that marriages are collapsing because of this government. Marriages are collapsing because cost of living is becoming so high. Mr. Speaker, that is where we found ourselves. Mr. Speaker, businesses are collapsing. Our debt is currently unsustainable. Mr. Speaker, this budget introduced 23 tax measures. 23 tax measures, Mr. Speaker.
But Deputy Finance Minister Abino Siasari fought back.
The 2023 budget has been formed or prepared in certain context. And the context is that we are faced with both difficult global and domestic challenges. We also have an ongoing IMF negotiations, and also we have debt operations. That is why there is a need to raise some form of taxes to support our fiscal consolidation. And I'm therefore urging my colleagues on the other side to support government with these current revenue measures before the House, as listed in paragraphs 215 to 222, like I mentioned earlier.
With the debate now underway, leadership of the House, both the minority and majority leaders, will be expected to conclude the debate on Thursday before a decision will be taken on whether or not the budget statement, as has been presented to the House by embattled Finance Minister Kenneth Oriata last week, Thursday, will be approved or not. Remember, last year the minority reported to have disapproved the budget until that decision was overturned. We'll see how that pans out now. But this debate has been a little bit unceremonious, and you've heard the minority there saying that the majority MPs have boycotted the debate because a number of them were not in the chamber when the debate started. Reporting for JoyNews, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
An economist and associate professor of finance at the University of Ghana, Professor Godfred Bokbin, says government's attempt to increase taxes is a lazy approach to addressing the current economic challenges facing the country. He explains that the country can make enough revenue with the current 12.5% VAT rate without the proposed 2.5% addition as announced in the 2023 budget by the finance minister. He's convinced with effective enforcement to ensure compliance, the country can rake in more revenue. He spoke on the Super Morning Show.
It's going to affect consumption. Baseline. And it's unfortunate, and when we say it's unfortunate, you mentioned 21%, right? The incidence of that tax on the final consumer. But then government a year ago or so decided to treat part of this actually VAT in character as straight levies. And because they were successful in doing that, our standard VAT rate came to about 12.5%. Okay?
Yeah.
And that made it look like we had the lowest standard VAT rate on the continent, while the average for the continent was 16%. And now they've increased the VAT by 2.5% to 15%. Again, if you look at it in the absence of the straight levies, amounting to about 6% or so, that still put our VAT, standard VAT rate at below the average on the content of 16%. But actually, to the final consumer, the incidence of that tax is more than the 15% standard rate. Now, apart from the fact that it will affect consumption, the reality of what they have done, not only this year, starting from last year, the rest of them 2 years ago, is that once your VAT, standard VAT rate increases beyond 17%, in fact, actually 18%, any additional increment, whether it's 1 percentage point or so, becomes counterproductive. And then also, it enhances inequality even though everybody will be paying, it will affect the poor, the marginalized, the socially excluded, those at the lower end of the income dynamics, disproportionately compared to the rich. So, on the average, apart from the fact that it would affect growth, you don't also do that if your goal is to promote inclusivity and greater social progression. So we missed the point. Now, if you look at our revenue generation from VAT, it is not as though the rate hasn't been high. The problem has been inefficiency. Some countries with the same tax type or tax handle are doing more than 60%, but we are doing around 44%. It means that there's some level of inefficiency, meaning that we could still generate more tax revenue from VAT, actually without increasing the rate, but rather focusing on compliance and efficiency.
Last month, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana led a march to call on the Vice President to make the Palugu multi-purpose dam a priority in the IMF negotiations. They are also scheduled to meet the Vice President later in December to discuss matters concerning the dam. So what does the recent admission by Dr. Baumia mean to the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana? We are joined by Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association, Dr. Charles Nyaba. Doc, I'm grateful for your time. First, what have been your demands, from your organization as far as the Palugu Dam is concerned, and what do you make of the recent admission by the Vice President? Dr. Nyaba, kindly unmute for me.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. We, being in the farming circle, we have realized that the major cause of food shortages of late has to do with instability of the weather conditions, specifically the rainfall patterns. When you take northern part of the country in recent years, we can't rely on the rains at all because the rains usually come when it's not expected. Sometimes the volumes that we receive is far, far less than demand. And it comes heavy within a very short period. We use small and then the rest will run into the sea. So in 2019, when the president caught the sword for construction of the Palugu multi-purpose dam, which would have been the largest irrigation project in West Africa, not only Ghana, 24,000 hectares. The largest we have in Ghana so far is 3,500 hectares. We were so happy, and then we all welcomed the initiative. To our surprise, the contractors actually moved out of sight, and it appears nothing was going on there. So we thought that as a country, as an agrarian nation, we need to actually start holding the Vice President, who is coming from the place where the dam is actually situated, to ensure that this project becomes a reality. So in the last month, our members around that area, we all actually marched to petition him to ensure that as part of the IMF negotiation, if we are taking any credit facility, then that dam should be prioritized.
So looking at where we are now, with the progress made so far, 3 years after sword was cut for that construction, are you still hopeful that the project can be executed?
Yeah, we are hoping that one day it could be executed. But looking at the budget statement that has just been read and the amount of money that is put for the dam construction, it's discouraging. The budget is not too clear where we're getting the rest of the money to continue. But all the same, we will still want to acknowledge the attempt to allocate some money for us. 253 million US Ghana cedis has been allocated. That represents about only 16 million US dollars. Meanwhile, when the sword was cut, the president said we needed about $1 billion US dollars to get it completed. So this 16 million US dollars is not enough. But there are plans to meet the vice president, and we expect that he should be able to tell us details apart from this amount that has been located, what plans are in place to ensure that this dam is completed? Because we are aware that the Vice President is so passionate about the project. All actors in the agriculture sector are passionate about that project. So we hope to get a good news from him when we meet him.
So there's a meeting coming up in December, right?
Yeah, there's a planned meeting. We earlier on petitioned him.
What's going to be the thrust of that meeting?
Yeah, the meeting is actually to engage him, to tell us what measures are in place to ensure that we get enough funding for the construction of the dam. Because if you look at the budget, amount has been allocated, but that amount represents insignificant amount of total money that is needed. So when we meet him, he will be able to tell us details, what are medium to long-term plans to ensure that the dam is completed. Because he made it both privately and publicly that no matter what it takes, he would be committed to ensure that wherever you get resources to ensure that the dam is constructed, to do that. And we believe him. So we just want to meet him and then for him to give us plans how he's going to raise money to get it completed.
Dr. Charles Nyaba, I'm grateful for your time. He's the president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. Now, 7 communities surrounding the University of Cape Coast are demonstrating against the university over what they say is an unlawful takeover of their lands. The communities, namely Kwesi Pra, Apewosika, Kwapro, and Akotuchiri, Ankafo, and Amamoma, say the current vice-chancellor of the university has been intimidating and gagging chiefs in those 7 communities with lawsuits over their own lands. The communities are calling on the president and the paramount chief of the Ogwa traditional area and all well-meaning Ghanaians to intervene and bring the university's vice-chancellor to order. We can now speak with Nana Amwesi, who is from Cape Coast, who has joined us. What exactly are you looking for?
Right. Emafa, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. So the 7 communities who are demonstrating, just like you rightly mentioned, are saying that the current vice-chancellor of the university, intimidating and gagging the chiefs and people of the community. They say that Professor Johnson Yakubu, who is the VC, seemed to not go with the laid down rules and of engagement between the school and then the community, which their predecessor vice chancellor has been adhering to. Now, the demonstrators started this morning from the communities. They gathered themselves at Kakundo and then marched through the UCC, and then now has ended at the Central Regional Police Headquarters, where they will be presenting their petition to the Regional Police Commander, I understand. And then they are what they are looking for is very simple. What they say is that over the years, since time immemorial, there's been a laid down rule that both schools have been adhering to. I mean, both schools and then the community have been adhering to. Now, they say that the current vice-chancellor seem to be gagging them, and then instead of allowing the chief to settle issues that do not even have to amount to lawsuits, then the vice-chancellor will be taking them to the court and that. So they say that they want the president of the republic to speak to the vice-chancellor, and then they think that their territory has also been encroached upon by the university, and so they're looking that they respect that territorial boundary that they had when the lands were being acquired from the 7 communities, and then the vice-chancellor also stopped gagging and intimidating the chiefs.
Nana Amwesi is a Cape Coast-based journalist. Thank you so much for the update from Cape Coast. We'll take a break on JoyNews today. When we return, we'll bring you the very latest coming from the world of business.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time to do business with me, Beverly Broom. We begin from the agriculture sector as prices of fertilizers will continue to increase in the first quarter of 2023. That's according to West Africa Regional Director at Yara International, Dankwa Eduyobo. Speaking at the launch of Yara Connect, Mr. Eduyobo indicated that the Russia-Ukraine war has no end in sight. Hence, the conversation on fertilizers needs to shift from the cost of the product to productivity and profitability for farmers after application.
Ghana remains highly dependent on imports of inorganic fertilizer. About 239,000 metric tons of fertilizers were imported in 2021. Traditionally, most fertilizers were subsidized under Ghana's Planting for Food and Jobs program. This was to ease the burden of Ghanaian farmers following the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war on the sector. Dankwa Eduyobo is a West Africa Regional Director at Yara International.
I know that the industry has struggled generally to get fertilizers available as quickly as we wanted. And the other reality is, even when it's available, the cost has been very high. And I think this is where the relevance of driving productivity and yield and profitability for the farmer is important. Because unfortunately, sometimes the focus has been on a cost conversation. Now it's very expensive, so you better get the right fertilizers. Now it's very expensive, so you better use it right. You know, now it's very expensive, so you better optimize with the limited space you have for the right yield. I know that Russia is discussing with some partners the possibility of being allowed to push out fertilizers next year because of the food production risk for the whole world. You know, it's a whole global impact if the global production stops. So I don't think it would switch to very positive in January, but I have a feeling that the toughness we have seen this year, it may continue a bit, but there might be a way to find solutions.
Yara Ghana launched Yara Connect, an app on expert farming knowledge for retailers selling Yara products. Digital Retail Solutions Manager Kwame Otre explained how the app works.
It's a connectivity tool that Yara has developed to connect Yara to its retailers. You know, in the distribution chain, we work through distributors who in turn also sell to retailers, who also in turn sell to the farmer. But then we want to be able to connect to the last mile of this distribution chain by connecting directly to our retailers. Now, there are three things that we aim to achieve with the Yara Connect. The first one is to improve the loyalty of our retailers to the Yara brand. And then we know the retailers are also very key in terms of farmer advice. When farmers come to them, they can advise, or they do actually advise on which products they can use for their production or their farming. So essentially, we want to build that affinity with the retailer so that when farmers come, the value we are creating for the retailers will also inform how they also recommend our products to the farmer at the end of the distribution chain.
The Yara Connect app offers a reward-based loyalty program for its retailers.
Away from agriculture, some cement producers are concerned about the fall in demand due to high prices triggered by the hike in cost of operations within the production value chain. According to the Sales and Marketing Director of CMAF Cement, Joseph Abor, taxes on import goods for production are hurting their operations, which calls for a drastic measure to save the situation. He spoke to Joy Business at the 2022 Home Builders Awards.
According to the cement producers, there is the need for a robust drive to streamline the activities of the manufacturing sector. According to Joseph Abu, there is the need for government to scrap nuisance taxes that affect the operations of various manufacturing sectors of the economy.
Yes, it has affected the demand pattern because, of course, it has gone beyond the income level of some of the consumers. And of course, it has also affected the pattern of the grades that consumers are buying. You know, cement are in different grades. You have the 32.5 grade, R grades, and 42.5, which is of higher strength than the 32. And the 42 one is of the price is higher than that of the 32. So you've seen the trend moving toward the 32, the lower grade. which is also another issue that we need to concern because
Organizer for the Home Builders Awards, Alex Nate, indicated that there's the need for more investment within the sector.
You have observed and seen what has gone on today. And what we see today is unprecedented. We, the organizers, are actually surprised to see the massive participation, the excitement, the joy, and the motivation this program has given the awardees and their supporters. And so going forward, it's going to be massive because every player in society, beyond his or her expertise, he's looking for recognition.
This is the maiden edition of the Home Builders Africa Awards in Ghana.
That's all for business. We have more business on Marketplace at 1 p.m. and also on myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Beverly Broom. Next is sports.
Well, it's time for sports with me, Abigail Sanasis, when Ghana will renew her 12-year-old rivalry with Uruguay after the dramatic quarter-final encounter at the World Cup in South Africa. Forward Luis Suarez denied Ghana a place in the last four after handling a goal-bound strike from Dominic Edia as Samojan missed the resulting spot kick, and the Black Stars ended up losing that game on penalties. Well, Coach Eduardo is confident that his side can match up boot for boot with any other team on Friday.
Yeah, just like every other match, surely we want to win. The good thing is that at the end, if it's a draw, it's also good for us, but we want to win this game. I'm not too much thinking about revenge. For me, it's a normal game. Surely, I also was really sad 2010 when I watched the scene. And yeah, it was a big chance for Ghana to proceed to the next stage. But it's 12 years ago, and now it's a different match, a different approach also. So I don't see it, for me, it's not a revenge, and I'm not a person who's seeking for revenge. I'm a strong believer that if we don't seek for these revenges and all these things, sometimes we even get more blessings from God, and we try to do our best to win this match, and I think we are confident enough to know that we can beat them. Yeah, but just as everybody, as you know, I said it to the boys also, the way the players behave which didn't play is sometimes even more important, because they were singing from the beginning with the boys to bring energy into the camp. They were celebrating with the boys who played, and so for me it's not about a person, it's about a team. Surely for Andrew it's a little bit different because he was there. He watches with his own eyes what happened there. So for him, I think it's even stronger feel in this match. But it's about the team. And I said it from the beginning, if we want to have a chance at this World Cup, it's teamwork. It's teamwork. And for this, we need to connect. And this, I think we showed that we have a lot of passion. That mentally we are very, very strong, and yeah, I want the guys to show it in the last game as well, in the last game of the group stage.
Well, Salis Abdul Samed is a Black Stars midfielder who has starred in the 2 games that Ghana had played at the World Cup so far, and the 22-year-old says the playing body will deliver against Uruguay and make Ghana proud.
I think we can keep them more, the ball more, the ball more. I think we can keep them more. We have the players, we have the qualities. We are playing, I think, in big leagues, so we've learned more in Europe and something, and I think we can keep the ball more. Not in our half, in the half of the opponent. Yeah, I think everyone deserves to play. Everyone deserves, because we work the same at training. Everyone is serious. Everyone is, I don't know, it's a competition. After the coach is the one, he's the boss, he's the chef, he does his thing. I have nothing to say about that. Yeah, I know they are waiting for us. They want us to win the game, and we also want to win the game. I just tell them they should continue with their support. We love what they are doing, and it makes us happy too, and push us more to play the game. We'll give all out, do our best, and try to win the game for them so that they'll also be happy and proud of us.
Well, before Ghana will face the Uruguay later on Friday, there are some matches to look forward to today with commentary live on Joy 99.7 and on Joy Prime as well. We'll bring you some of the live games. And so Poland will take on Argentina, Saudi Arabia face Mexico, and Australia will play Denmark. And Tunisia, that's our feature game on Joy Prime, will be against France at 3 p.m. today. That'll be all for sports. My name is Abigail Sanasosu. Thank you for doing the watching.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews today. Now, the finale of Ghana's biggest Kids Cookery TV reality show on Joy Prime Big Chef is coming off this Sunday. The event, which will take place at the premises of Joy FM, is expected to thrill patrons. So ahead of the finale, friends and families of the contestants have been sharing their goodwill messages.
Laura, you have started from the group stages. You have now seen the trophy. Don't be the Asamwejan in this Big Chef.
And all I want to tell my baby girl is to be bold and creative. She should always use her imagination.
Melakuku dem na Ghana duko kata. Ebe duko amesiame. Beno kwe wa vote ne.
So let's all come together and support her and bring the crown home.
Aisha is very energetic. She's very creative. Even on days that she's not feeling her best, she always tries to do what she can. So I hope that you can vote for her, because she's putting her mind and her heart into this. So please vote for her. Thank you.
Adwa is better than Ama, so vote for Adwa.
Congratulations to Prince, and I'll also urge you all to vote for Nanado.
My nephew Prince, all the best in the final of the Big Chef competition. You better bring that trophy home, yeah?
Oh, Nora, bye-bye.
Good afternoon to you, Aisha.
Hello, Vicky, the lady from USA.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the series, the E-Vibe.
The E-Vibe series, yeah. I've got a lot for our viewers. They should stay tuned to the Joy News and Joy Prime channels.
Thanks so much for bringing us Showbiz.
Would you allow me to do it?
That'll be it for the bulletin.
I want to do that and say that for more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. That's where you find all the news.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Enjoy the rest of our program.
And my name is Becky. Enjoy the rest of our programs.